We modern humans need light, machines, and factories. For all that, we need electricity. In Germany, 30% of the available electricity is generated by nuclear power plants. They achieve this via fission of uranium, a radioactive element. This produces residual waste, so-called atomic waste, which carries dangerous radiation that can be fatal for living beings. This waste is transported to the French facility La Hague for reprocessing. Here, the waste is melted into glass and is put into special casks, the so-called CASTORs. Cask for storage and transport of radioactive material. According to the manufacturer, this cask endures a drop from 800 meters, heat up to 1200 degrees, heavy explosions, and bullet fire. First and foremost, a CASTOR lessens the radiation. The CASTORs need to be put into an interim storage until their radiation has decayed. In Gorleben, in the district of Lüchow-Dannenberg, there is a depot for interim storage. At first, the CASTOR is 400 degrees. By the air circulation in the depot, the CASTOR is supposed to cool down to 200 degrees, which makes final isolation possible. A CASTOR expires after 40 years. However, the uranium-235 situated in the waste has a half-life of 700 million years. Disposal of radioactive waste is an unsolved problem. In Germany, the search for a disposal zone started in 1973, and salt domes were prime candidates. The geological properties are supposed to ensure that no radioactive substances can get into the surrounding biosphere. In 1977, Gorleben was chosen as the disposal zone because of the political situation. Regardless of the negative findings, the salt dome was declared apt. Since 1995, CASTORs are transported from La Hague to Gorleben. The carrier train passes Lüneburg and ends up in the terminal Dannenberg-Bläse. Here, the CASTORs are transferred onto flatbed trucks so that they bridge the remaining 20 kilometers to the interim storage in Gorleben by road. Each time, the district is put into a state of emergency because the realization of the transport has to be enforced with thousands of policemen. The date of transport is kept secret, but it usually falls into the first 3 weeks of November. About 2 to 3 weeks before the CASTOR's arrival, a general directive is decreed. It forbids gatherings in the vicinity of the transport way. Regardless of the general directive, there is a call for resistance demonstrations, particularly from people from the Wendland. To stop the transport, protesters make sit-ins on and near the route, block streets with tractors, shackle themselves to self-made pyramids, climb trees, and demonstrate. The district of Lüchow-Dannenberg became the symbol for non-violent resistance against the interim storage. Especially on the last part of the train route, Lüneburg-Dannenberg, rails and streets are being blocked. However, there are occasional outbreaks of violence during the transports. It is an open secret that the police use snitches to spy on the demonstrators. Although the resistance against the CASTOR transports has attained a considerable momentum, the highly radioactive CASTORs always end up in the above-ground interim storage. But the Wendlanders do not give up, and it is a given that when the next transport takes place, they will once again demonstrate on the rails and the streets, against the government, the nuclear industry, and for a radiation-free future.